Are you a big fan of power and militaries? Do you love to know more about shocking things about the central government of different countries? If yes, then ensure to give all your attention to us here. Today we will talk about the news which is breaking out about the civil war in Russia. Hold your breath and know what is baking against Putin. Hello guys, greetings from War News Today. Let's jump right into the warfield. Internal dangers are arising at a rapid speed in Russia. It came out in the news when the BBC interviewed Konstantin Remchikov, in which he criticized the regime of Russia over the matter which was hiding from everyone's eyes. His concern was not about the defeat of Ukraine, and he was not much delighted about the victory of Russia because his main concern was a revolution about what we will see in the upcoming time. According to Konstantin Remchikov, the rise of the parallel military in Russia is one of the biggest concerns. These militaries were created because of the recent president of Russia, and there is the highest possibility that they will fight a revolution against Putin. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, is blamed for the attempt to carry out the war between Russia and Ukraine, where he did not hesitate about the precious lives of his expanded military, which is not considered a wise decision. Because of this war, everyone has weapons now. From the outer military to the internal military, from the most vital people to the ordinary powers. The main concern is that they now will fight against each other to establish their own authority and claim their power so that they can rule over the whole country. It will happen because of the internal competition between defense armies and militaries. Also, weapons are now available on the open market as their access has become more accessible, resulting in tense events or situations in the future. And sadly, the government of the country is also divided into several fractions. Now the loyalty to the central government is disappearing. As the masses now have the weapons, they have the power and the rebel desire and would like to try their possible attempts to grab the highest power and authority. It will result in a revolution or another civil war, which the people never expected. Also, private solid military forces like the Wagner group are rising, which are totally not under the central government's control. Hence, there is a tremendous rising concern. They are considered technically illegal in Russia as they violate human rights. But just because they have helped a lot in saving the country in the challenging moments, they were considered the rescuers of the country when this group fulfilled their responsibility by rescuing the Syrian regime, and they are also acting as the protector of Russia to save the precious wealth from negative impacts from the last 2 decades. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner group, has made his private military part of Russia, known by Russian extension too. Not only this, but he has been given the head of Putin's chief. But the concerning factor is that it was given shadow entities and helped other companies to build their empire. The Wagner group has established the roots of its influence just like the defense ministers. The owner of this private military group is a businessman named Yevgeny Prigozhin. However, this ownership was not declared publicly. It only came into the spotlight when a viral video spotted him recruiting the prisoners. Before that, it was not confirmed and open to the public who the group's owners were. Sadly, this group has a bad influence, including criminal records, grabbing resources, and doing illegal activities for which the owner was even behind bars, which is both alarming and dangerous for Putin and the internal peace of Russia. Though the Wagner group works based on a contract, it is surprising that it gained the title of Chief of Putin. Wagner's group is not limited to providing security to the president, trolling, and spreading hate. Still, it also works to help some organizations seize resources and work in an illegal and manipulative way. Also, some of the Wagner groups have spread their roots by spreading forced power and torture in unacceptable ways. Thank you to our curious audience who keep asking insightful questions about the government bodies and the authorities in the comment box and giving the military new ideas to fight with more force and power. Hit the like button if this is shocking for you so far. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and tap on the bell icon for post notifications. Wagner Group was considered the private army of Putin, which Vasyl Hrytsak, the chief of Ukraine security, claimed. After this, it was also observed that this private military group is using the healthcare services of the Russian military. Also, the group was observed using the aircraft of the Russian military. Members of this private military have connections with terrorist groups which later figured out as a group of the US. Yet its chief commanders were awarded the Hero Awards and several other awards won by other members of the Russian military. So, Prigozhin has no fear of pushing his military forces or combatants to fight against the central military forces or the Putins. As several military forces inside Russia have become like separate power hubs, independent, fully armed, and trained to use weapons, the situation can worsen at any time. For example, Chechen units, the Russian National Guard, the Wagner Group, Russian military regulars, and more. It was already in the news that 2 of these military forces had already fired on each other. Russian military regulars and guard forces were the highlights of the news. It's also reported that because of the increasing corruption inside the Russian government, that they have started using weapons and personnel to get the desired results. It reflects the poised forces with desperation for power and lack of unity. It's not suitable for the internal peace of Russia, and it has already degraded the monopoly of the central government of Russia. Prigozhin was observed openly recruiting new combatants for the private military from the prison in Russia in September of 2022. And you'll be shocked to hear that he was recruiting for these prisoners for whom? He was recruiting them for the Wagner group. It's an alarming matter because this man has spent more than 9 years in prison in Russia. They were taken with the military to fight against the Ukraine war in exchange for releasing them from prison. But fortunately, many of the prisoners returned alive from the war, so instead of giving them complete freedom, Prigozhin merged them into his private military forces. Also, according to one of the respective general officers, the private military force and the government's defense military commands and planning are not united. They work in different manners and directions, hence the conflict will undoubtedly result in a civil war or rebellion. The Wagner is not a single group, it's just part of the Wagner organization, which has several other groups. These other groups are limited to Putin's military forces. They have a vast network spread worldwide, including countries like the US, the UK, Canada, Japan, Australia, Africa, France, etc. The owner's agency also has a bad image under the name of the Troll Factory, which often tries to spread hate in Western countries with the help of fake accounts, which seems natural. But the owner of the Wagner group tried to improve his and his group's image with the help of the movie named The Tourist. It was funded and sponsored by the businessman Yevgeny Prigozhin. He even successfully improved his reputation by how their military group healed the weaker parties by giving them support. But most of the things demonstrated in it were fictional. And the Russian government denied that such things did not even happen. Russia concluded that the Russian government was trolled via this movie. The main concern is arising because the Wagner group is not fighting for the security of Russia, but for money and profit. There are no direct relationships of group security, and money is the only factor for which they are ready to kill the enemies. It's not suitable for Putin and Russia, which can result in civil war at any time. We've gathered some news and insight for you and have tried to cover them in this video. While watching this video, you get some new and unique insights about Russia and its military forces. Thank you for watching until the end, and feel free to share if you have some scary new information about the Russian forces and civil wars. And yes, as always, remember to share it with your friends. Again, thank you for watching, feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next video.